G'day everybody and welcome back to the Hardball Gets AFL show. Today on the show, it is the Thursday teams this week leading into the Easter long weekend. If you haven't subscribed to the show, please do that wherever you listen. Leave us a rating, leave us a review. And most importantly of all, and we've got feedback about this, this is an effective tactic.
Yes.
You got to tell your mates.
People
are telling their mates.
We have had some feedback and next week we will read out
We'll
everybody
go through all
who
the mates.
sent in their mates who they have actually passed it on.
You get on the honour board.
You're on the honour board.
Yeah, you're on the honour board for maybe if we'll make a hat one day.
Well,
you're first off the cavalry.
Actually, we should do that. Make a bucket hat and put people's names on it.
Like inscribed, like when you're a first-time member.
Yeah.
Nick
This is
with
like me on the
wall.
Suns wall.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, all right, let's get stuck in. Got the touch? Download the Tab Touch app today. You win some, you lose more. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. This is Hardball Gets AFL show. My name's Nick Rinn, joined by Xavier Ellis and Ryan Daniels. Gentlemen, what's happening?
Well, we're doing this a day early because it's Thursday and it's Easter weekend, and I know that Zave's heavily religious and would want to be at church.
Yeah, James got to go to church.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
I've only just really, in the last 2 years, got out of the guilt factor now of the fish.
Yeah.
So, bacon and eggs.
No. I still
You have to stay on the fish?
I don't do it for religious reasons. I do it for karma. I feel as though that if I hoe into half a pig on Friday,
you get struck down.
well, something will happen on the Saturday. They'll run out of beer at the Sporty. And we'll decide to come back from Augusta 3 days early.
So your theory
the
is
kids
that
will get gastro.
Jesus is so spiteful that you're going to have a little bit of roast pork.
Yeah.
That he's watching you that closely that if you don't eat fish on that day.
Don't go to church ever, babe.
Hang on. After I turned up to Fraser McGuinness's wedding and I did the church readings, and in front of the live audience,
Yes. How'd you go?
the priest tried to recruit me to come back and do a few more regular
Because
spots.
you were
right.
that good.
Come down on Sunday.
I could see that for you.
I think he likes me trying to rev the crowd up a fraction.
Yeah.
Just,
okay.
I expect a bit of enthusiasm.
The modern day preacher. You know?
Well, but it just kept it between the lines. And I am the 25-year-old bloke who had been to church every Sunday as a youngster.
Really?
Every Sunday. And then chapel at boarding school or whatever once
of
every
course.
couple of weeks or something. And I only learnt that the Virgin Mary, I thought that meant something completely different than the actual Virgin.
You thought it was a cocktail.
No, I still didn't. I thought maybe she was the first to be chosen to do it, or I was sitting there pissed. This is true. On Christmas Eve, when I was 25, I'd had 13 stubbies, and I was like, "Shit, are they saying virgin is in intercourse virgin?"
What did you think was the airline?
I don't know. There's a lot of different meanings.
She got
There's
to
a different
Bethlehem
Virgin.
via Virgin Airlines.
Yeah, this is right.
I didn't understand the concept. I would have been to church, and I'm not lying, 800 times.
You just
And
missed
on the
that.
801st, I realised what was going on.
You just missed that bit.
Oh,
I
God.
missed
You never
it.
thought. You never thought to ask.
Well, I thought it was.
was never clarified.
I didn't think I need to ask. Anyway, we're in dangerous waters
What
here.
did you think they meant when they said immaculate conception?
I wasn't listening too closely. But I was like the church boy.
Were you
I
in
had
a nativity
I
play
had
or something?
I had the bell maid. I had everything. I was up there in my gown.
What's your church background? Have you? So
Yeah, I
you
was-
just said you
yeah,
just lost the guilt. So
I sort of went to Catholic school the way growing up. Went to church most Sundays
With
when
the
I lived
fam?
with Mum.
yeah, right.
And then when I moved in with Dad, we never went again.
So my old man drinks he's a very, very big drinker, a gambler.
Yeah.
And I feel like he feels like on a Sunday morning he gets it's a clean wash.
Clean slate. Yeah.
And then he can go to the pub again every day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Punt
you just
every-
got to go confess your sins
That's it.
and you're out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into it. First game is tonight. We have not seen this
Yes.
game yet. Brisbane and Collingwood. Brisbane $1.53. Collingwood $2.50. That's at the Gabba, of course. We only have the ins and outs for this team. Sam Marshall, I do like this kid, midfielder, can kick a goal. And James, they just got so many coming through. Like Sam Marshall is like the seventh Beatle at this point.
Also, the best on ground last week in the AFL Academy game against Richmond was the Brisbane Academy guy. Yeah.
James Tunstall, who WA boy.
Jimmy Tunstall, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And Will McLaughlin and Bruce Revel are out. Jordan DeGoey in for
Revel.
Collingwood. Tim Membry's been rested. Okay.
Big
Automatically,
rested against Brisbane.
Well, automatically I look at that and go, Collingwood $2.50?
yeah.
I mean, you think they're going to win the flag?
Well, you know where I'm headed.
Collingwood.
I think Collingwood and Brisbane are doing their thing.
Just.
They're doing the absolute opposite to what they did last year to start the season.
Getting it done.
So they're doing it. They're getting it done. They're at the Gabba. But I'm telling you what, the weather's good. The track's good. Everything's good. It's going to be a good night for footy. Hopefully, it doesn't get dewy and sweaty and whatnot.
Yeah.
I'm a Brisbane man through and through, and I think that I'm a Collingwood man through and through. I think the Brisbane backed themselves in being the premiers at home, and I reckon if you any chance of landing a blow on them, it's when they're at home. Collingwood typically go well up there. They had a really good record.
They travel well.
Yeah.
They travel well.
They don't travel frequently, but they travel well.
Their old boys are in ripping form, and Jordan De Goey, I think he'll play more forward tonight.
He has to.
So $2.65 for 2 goals. I think that's not bad value. I think he'll play forward. And don't sleep on my man, Ned Long Schlong. He's
20 plus. You have to get 25.
My same game, and we'll get to that a bit later.
Okay. Oh, you're going tonight.
Yes, I'm going early.
Yeah.
Going early.
I always think when there's a team's undefeated too, it's like there's a loss coming. As it builds and builds, like law of averages,
and
they're
with
going to
them,
lose at some
we've
point.
also they've kind of almost lost every game. They've won every game, but each game you could have seen them losing.
But also no tags typically either side. Like it really should be a fun game of footy to watch.
That should be good. Okay, all right. North Melbourne $3.10 against Carlton $1.37. Marvel Stadium,
$3.10.
Good Friday during the day. Zave, you flagged this on Tuesday as a possible upset straight out of the gate.
Yeah, well, minus 18 points the line, so that's probably where I'll be heading. But North Melbourne, there's games all through the calendar. Like, if Carlton lose to North Melbourne, they're in the same position as where they were last week.
Yep.
If North Melbourne lose again, the temperature goes up on Clarko.
Yep.
But the games like this the whole way through, Essendon against West Coast, then Fremantle and Melbourne. Like, there's all sort of even ledger games for about 7 of them.
Yep.
But North Melbourne, what did I say? What was the saying about North Melbourne? Fool me once.
Shame on you.
Fool me twice.
Shame on me.
Yeah, they're going to fool me again because I'm all over North Melbourne.
You can't wrap your head around that saying, can you?
Well, I just don't think Carlton, they didn't prove anything last week.
What's the saying?
Yeah.
Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. The other way around.
The other way around.
Other way around.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Okay, so you think
I'll go
chance.
North as well.
I think Carlton's going to win.
I'll go
It's
North.
50-50.
Yeah, I reckon
I don't
toss
know
of the
about
coin.
that.
You don't? What impressed you from
just
Carlton?
think you're going to flat track bully it.
But I don't think.
Do you think the Good Friday thing is an occasion thing now? I don't think it is.
No.
North Melbourne haven't been good.
So in Victoria, Good Friday appeal is our
Telethon.
Like telethon,
It's
yeah.
exactly the same.
Yeah,
So over there, and over here in WA, for those not in WA, we don't do any of the Good Friday appeal stuff.
No.
That's your own backyard.
Later in the year.
So, but I don't think
we'll
it
do
is.
telethon.
I don't think it is.
$83 million.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think it's a
telethons are always
concept.
on proposition.
Yeah, but I don't think it is a concept for us. But over East, it certainly is a big day.
Yes, okay. But is the footy part of that, though?
Yep. Yeah, it is
It's
now.
now part of it?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And over here as well, Rhino now hosts telethon, which, as we know,
No, that hasn't been
is the
confirmed.
track.
That hasn't been confirmed.
Didn't you do it last year?
Not
the big part.
I opened
Oh, you
telethon.
go okay.
I
You opened it in close.
There's the close.
So the closing is now like a well-worn path to becoming premier. We know that. That's base camp.
No one's actually done that.
Well, becoming a leader of the opposition.
Imagine if I become premier one day.
Oh, mate.
that
we
could
want some pretty juicy cabinet positions.
Yeah, I'll work for you. My greatest anxiety, I don't get anxiety about much, but telethon I do. Because I always get crowbarred into doing things.
Yes.
And I'm happy to do it in the background, that's fine. But 2 years ago, I was in a rainbow suit, and they're like, oh, Zave, we're running out of time. Can you get the Premier and one of the massive mining companies and do like the $5 million donation? I was like, no, this is not. I don't know your names. I don't know anything to do with who you are.
Yep.
So now
I
just have sweats about the whole thing.
I had my last job last year was just before the closing when Baz read out the total, but I had the Premier, Roger Cook, and that's the biggest donation.
Yeah.
It's like
You have the
$12
WA, the state
million,
one,
right?
which is our donation, not his.
Yeah, it's from the WA people.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there doing this donation, and we go through it and we nail it, right? And then everyone has to get up and do the conga line.
Oh yeah.
And I've left the check on the table, and he goes back and he goes, "Oh, that's $12 million." I go, is that a real check? I've just left this sitting for dead. I'm like, holy crap, I'm holding $12 million.
Scratch it out and put cash.
It was a real check. I couldn't believe it. I just didn't think it worked like that. Okay, West Coast and Essendon. This is also over in WA, Telethon Town. Essendon favourites, $1.22. West Coast, $4.20. Last time these two teams played here, West Coast were also an awful team at the time. It was a 1-goal difference.
Yeah.
Is there a world where this is the game where West Coast
Not in a world.
turn up and play like they did against Brisbane and Essendon get a little Essendon-y and lose the game.
Not in a world that I'm living in.
You
no.
don't reckon?
No.
There's no
No,
chance.
Essendon should
You
be
don't-
$1.
If I gave
Essendon
you
should be
100 chances, you're saying it's 100.
No,
Essendon.
not 100. Otherwise, it'd be $1.01. But
So you
it
reckon-
should be $1.02
Out of the 100, how many times? If they played 100 times, how many is West Coast winning?
twice.
You're going to give them 2 wins.
2 wins.
2 out of
and that's
100.
because in those 100 games, Zach Merritt rolled an ankle.
Right. In those timelines.
In the so that's why.
Jake Waterman kicks 8 because he's on the end of everything.
but no, there's no world that they win. The line's gone from 20 out to 26.5. I can't see it. Nothing has been impressive from West Coast, and I still just don't know. You hear the talk that the training standards have got to go up and all this sort of stuff. That's not a 1 week, 5 day, 6 day fix. That's a 6 months, 1 year, 18 months, 2
Can we
year
just,
fix.
while you're on that, I like the Jack Graham interview where he talked about training 1 less day.
Oh, and I'm talking about Waterman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. But, okay, that one too. But the Jack Graham one got a little confused because the people over East saw that
Yes.
and went, oh, what? They're training 1 less day? This is ridiculous. They've got to be better than that. If you listen to the whole interview and you take the context of it, what he is saying is because of the travel, they have 1 less day
To train.
in the calendar. They
yeah.
can't train that day. Every 2 weeks they have to travel and come back as well. So you lose a day.
I think some clubs train that day.
Huh?
I think some clubs train travel.
Train on travel day.
On travel
Train
day?
on travel.
Do you mean the interstate clubs?
Well, when they're travelling, yeah.
If it's different when you've got to do it every week.
Yeah.
When you come once every 6 weeks,
All I
it's
know
a fun
is
novelty.
clubs don't train anywhere near as much as what we used to, and that was 8 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Melbourne and Fremantle. This is a
Well,
fascinating
this
game.
is you, mate. This is your floor. They're your boys.
Fremantle $1.37.
He's back.
Who the D's? Melbourne $3.10. MCG Saturday. This has all the hallmarks of a game where Melbourne have been under the spotlight all week. They're 0-5.
Yeah.
Every show is talking about them. Goodwin's under the pump.
If Goodwin loses, Goodwin gone.
All of that. Fremantle on the road for 10 days.
Bevo's in Melbourne scope.
Bevo's in
Simo's in Melbourne at the moment.
I can
Yeah.
sense.
Whoa,
I can
whoa.
sense the Fremantle people
Mate, it's a bit
knowing,
nervy.
not the club, but the fans,
Yeah.
knowing that this is a game where the sphincter's going to get tight.
You just get
for them.
flashbacks to Austin Wanamiri.
Well,
When they were up by like
Wanamiri.
7, so up by a shitload, and then Austin Wanamiri went nuts.
And his
lost
old man was
game.
in the crowd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
the longer Melbourne goes without winning, the more a danger game grows because
Yeah,
it's,
but who's going to do it for them? Like,
well, that was the question.
yeah. Like, I get that
Yeah.
we don't have the same thoughts of West Coast and Richmond.
But it doesn't take much. All
It
it, takes
takes
is for
ability.
Bailey Fritsch to have a day where he kicks 4 instead of not touching the footy, or Cozzy Pickett lights them up.
Because he's the one, maybe, not Fritsch. Like, I'm looking at it now going, there's not much to it.
Yeah.
Fremantle
You
roll
just-
in
Okay, 100 times. 100 times.
13.
13
Melbourne win
I reckon
13.
it's higher than that.
Melbourne are bottom 4 side. They don't have a great deal of talent. They're rudderless. They're built on names, a bit like West Coast were 3 years ago when the names weren't equal to the performance.
Yep.
And Fremantle, if they're worth their top 8 position this
Okay,
year,
here
I
we
think
go.
they go click, click,
So
click.
are you just
Yeah,
doing the
okay.
thing here where you're setting Fremantle up? Well, they can't lose this.
No, well, I had Freo top 4 at the end of the year.
Did you?
Yeah, at the start of the year, or top 8, or top 6, or whatever it was.
Is,
So-
is that another expectation?
no,
thing
no,
for
but
them?
I'm more of Melbourne being a bottom 4 side.
Right.
I've said that 1,000 times.
Yeah, that's true.
But Melbourne are no good.
Nicholas,
I'll go Fremantle. Yeah, but I'm not, like, I'm nervy.
Okay.
thanks for the contribution.
Yeah.
Adelaide and GWS. Adelaide are $1.80 favourites against GWS. It is at Adelaide Oval, so the Giants play
What a
there
game.
again.
I'm watching this.
When I tipped it, I automatically tipped GWS.
Yeah, I tipped GWS.
So then I saw
So
the
Adelaide
odds and went,
$1.80,
oh,
GWS $2.
The $2 feels good.
And of course, Peatling and Cumming against their old mob.
Yes, of course.
No, I just think Adelaide
Revenge game.
A revenge game. I do just think they're very similar heights as Luca when he played against Dallas the other day.
Yeah,
I
I
can
can
see
see
that.
that.
And
Yeah.
scored 45.
Do you reckon
or
they'll
whatever
do a
it was.
video for James Peatling and Isaac Cumming?
I think.
With tears? Although that's when they go back to NG Stadium.
Yeah, no, they're
They'll save
saving
that
it for after
NG,
the Royal
of
Show.
course, yeah.
Look, Adelaide, I'm not convinced. Yeah, they've taken a couple of scalps, a couple of wins. They haven't taken a scalp. If they beat the Giants, yeah, you'll catch my attention. I don't think they've done that yet. This
Exactly. This is
Yeah.
another one of those ones where Adelaide can
Stake
you
in
just,
the ground.
you got to stand up here and win this game. Then we'll take you seriously.
I'll back them in to do that.
Year. Yeah,
Course
but
you-
you're all
of
over
course you will.
Adelaide.
Yeah, but I also like GWS. This would be two teams I'd want to see in the top 4 at the end of the year.
Adelaide aren't the same gravy as the Giants.
No, they're
just
not. But at home,
Adelaide's not a top
No.
14.
Yeah, but
Lay off the
Have you had a quick hit today?
They're just not.
I did go as it came into my mouth. I was like, I'm not sure that's right.
They're just not.
But I can still see him winning this game, like at home.
Yep.
Because you don't need to be an equally as good team to beat them at home. Sometimes you get what's the percentage boost home for a non-Victorian team? 10, 15% on performance?
Yeah.
Or Adelaide over, you get
10,
it.
yeah, 10 to
Yeah,
15.
so then you're probably 10 to 15% worse team than GWS.
I remember walking into Adelaide over one day and Luke Shuey saying, mate, we've got this mob by 8 goals today. We were down by 8 goals, I think, 3 minutes after quarter time.
Look, I can see the Crows winning.
I can see a world that they do it.
But I
can see a world.
think GWS wins the game.
Well,
I think
play
it's
5 times, 3-2.
out of 100?
Well, what's that?
50, 55, 45
yeah,
maybe?
something like that.
60-40.
60-40.
Okay, Richmond Gold Coast. $1.06, the Gold Coast Suns.
Gee.
Richmond $9. Now, we thought this game was at the MCG.
Yeah.
It is actually at
At
Marvel.
Marvel.
So they've stuck Dimmer at Marvel.
They've jammed Dimmer at
Do
Marvel.
you reckon he's going to have to put it in the GPS? I don't reckon he's going
Can't
to
remember
be
how
able
to
to
get
get there.
Well, funnily
gonna be
enough,
seething.
Richmond haven't won since that comment at Marvel. I believe that was stat.
Yeah, right.
Even when they were on top of the ladder, they couldn't win there. I think we're wasting time talking about
What's
it.
the line?
The line it'll be something
large.
around 50, but let me just quickly dive into
$1.06
it.
to $9. Yeah, it's going to be around 48.
But is this one of those games? I know you don't get much out of smashing a side and watching a side smash a side, but is this a game where you go, oh yeah, Gold Coast 45 points is the line?
Ooh.
Is this the game that you look at and go, that's what good teams should do
Yes,
to shit teams?
this is a bully game.
They should put 10 goals on them and have the foot on the throat and really, really press.
That's what we talked about on Tuesday, wasn't it? Like they've done that to everyone they've needed to do that to so far. So
Yeah, they need to come out and
suggest
flex
they would do
here.
it
They
again.
should come out and win by 10 goals and go, no,
Matt
this
Rouse
is,
should have 15 clearances.
this is fine for us. Richmond, what they do in almost every game, is they play quite well for at least a quarter.
Yeah.
So they have been respectable for a minimum quarter in most games.
Yeah, so if Gold Coast, like Freo the other day, right, when they played Richmond, that first quarter you were like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And then
in the second quarter, you were like,
over the
still
course of
competed.
the game, just the talent and the overwhelming
Well, and
skill.
you also think fitness levels too.
That should happen.
Yeah, 100%.
So as long as Gold Coast can do the same thing Freo did, that's kind of what the performance was.
I would love to see a 100-point margin just to say that Gold Coast can do it.
How many can Ben King kick? Teams
he
and
kicked
players.
10.
Is Noah Bolter going to play?
Don't know. We'll find out.
Because that
tonight.
was a toss-up
yeah.
as of yesterday, whether he was going to
Yeah.
play or not.
It
Look,
sounded like he was going to play.
yeah,
Didn't
it did
based
certainly.
on what Uze was saying.
Did certainly. Wouldn't you just remove and put yourself back
Oh,
in the
you
bushes
would.
It's
too?
a whole nother. It's just one more week. Just
Correct.
wait till you've got the.
Oh, so they just need to fix everything around their handling of Noah Bolter.
Yeah, it hasn't been great.
He's been punished enough. No, he's literally awaiting sentencing.
Let's be honest. If it isn't, if Noah comes in or not, it's not going to affect.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that comment from Uze.
No, he's punished enough, mate. He hasn't been punished.
Oh, that's-
the punishment's
yeah,
coming in
the
a couple
judge
of
will
weeks.
decide
Did you
that.
see Dan Gorringe's video?
Yeah.
Punished enough? We would argue he hasn't been punished.
He's on fire, Dan.
He's having a year, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's
he
having
is.
a year. Breakout. Sydney, $1.44. Port Adelaide, $2.75. SCG.
See, these are these good games I'm talking about. You know, I know Port are roughies,
Yeah, quite rough. $2.75 surprised me.
but I still think it's Sydney, as we said during the week
vulnerable.
on the 2-minute warning. They are. There's no one jumping off the page. If Heaney and Warner aren't doing it, who is?
Riley Bias, but other than him.
Yeah, but Riley Buzz.
Don't fall for Connor Rosie off half back having another field day.
You don't reckon?
Nah, well, he might play there.
Yeah.
But there's no way in the world Sydney will say,
No, they'll put James Jordan on.
have you a bit of fun back there. I think they'd probably back, if Butters stood next to Heaney, would you say 50-50 game?
Yeah.
Would you say if Warner stood next to Horn
Francis?
Francis, 50-50
Yeah,
sort of
I hope
matchup?
that happens.
Great matchup. You can't let one of them off halfback just take the piss. And I think Sam Mitchell, as I said on Monday, would look back and go, probably had Finn McGuinness sitting there.
Yeah.
Right, literally.
Whether it's not Jordan or not, it has to be someone. Stop Rosie, so don't fall into Rosie thinking he's just going to sit back and take the piss for another couple of hours.
So can Port Adelaide win this game?
Yes, I think they can, and I'm going to be tipping them, and I'm going to be picking them, and I'm
You're
going to
gonna be
punting
tipping
them.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
This is another one. This is fun.
You're into Port at the moment.
I am into Port
Yeah.
at the moment.
You're a little frisky
well,
for Port.
to be fair, they looked after me last week, so
Okay.
Well, you got to pay that back, right?
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You got to keep
Loyalty.
the faith.
You're a
Keep the
loyal
faith.
better.
Kenny got him going.
There's a couple of fun matchups. Like, that's another one. I'd be like,
there's
I would
heaps
love
of-
to watch that.
Even
It's a great round.
The two more games we've got to go.
we don't start. The Friday's not Friday's not appointment viewing.
What's the worst game of the
West Coast Essendon.
Yes.
I would argue North Carlton. I don't want to. I mean, West
No,
Coast
but North can
Essendon-
beat Carlton.
Yeah, and
I don't think West Coast can beat
Carlton
Essendon.
lose. Voss is sitting there twitching.
Yeah, I suppose.
Clarko's twitching.
West Coast Essendon is a nothing game, isn't it?
Correct.
I mean, apart from the fact that you should watch it live and free on
On 7,
mate, on 7 plus
local And
commentary team.
look, if you're thinking about watching on KO, I just saw that they're not even using their local team, so you should be watching on 7.
I believe that's a misprint.
Oh, right, okay.
I looked into that.
Okay.
I believe that's
You checked it out.
I did.
Nice contribution there, Nick.
The
I thought I was just leaving it. I thought I was
No.
teeing it up nicely. And he's,
the Western Bulldogs, I would have loved that. The Western Bulldogs, $1.54. St Kilda, $2.45. Sunday night at Marvel Stadium. Interesting one for me because St Kilda, with the Ross Line coaching ability, $2.45 against a team that's not a top 4 side.
Have they
They're always
declared?
a chance.
Have they declared Bont a runner yet?
yeah, I don't know. That's
If he gets through training,
Yeah.
which means he's playing.
So
unless-
he'll play, I reckon, more forward than full
Probably.
midfield.
Bit of a mix.
But it just you walk out every single team, and I know I'm speaking about arguably the best player of
a generation.
you know, the generation sort of thing. But every team has a player that you just walk a bit taller. So like Luke Hodge wasn't the best player at Hawthorn, but if Hodgie was in, you felt a bit safer.
Yeah.
I used to think at West Coast if Mark LeCras was playing.
Oh,
yeah.
Lecker was
We're a
my
chance.
like shit.
He's your talisman.
He's our like not half, but he's up and down the ground. He's talking a bit of shit. If he gets a set shot, he'll kick it.
Yeah.
Good steadier.
I love that.
I just reckon Bontempelli, which I know I'm saying is the best player of the decade. But they'll walk an inch taller for sure.
Yeah.
With Bont rocking out with them, I reckon the Dogs get it done. I think St Kilda are about to fall off their perch.
Because they've been good enough, the Dogs.
They've been good enough.
Yeah.
They've been good enough. They just haven't had that cream.
What about, I don't know, it's crazy because it's Bont, but they've been doing it without him. Is it going to mess up what they've been doing?
Not really, because I think
Nah.
everything they've been doing has lacked
the Bont.
the Bont.
Yes.
And
we looked, and there's not like there's too many. The depth going through the middle is not like huge that you're going to force someone
Sanders
out.
and Kennedy and those
Yeah.
guys. Like if you lose them for centre bounces, even if he plays forward, I know Norton hasn't really done a great deal, but
On the weekend, he was good.
But Ross Lyon will be twitchy if Bont's sitting full forward or
Yeah.
sits next to Darcy. Like it's just that player that you can guarantee Ross the boss will be sitting there going,
He's one of
"Shit,
those.
where's Bont?"
He could do danger later in the career if he gets to an age where
Bont?
he can't. Yeah, Bont.
Yeah, good. He
Gets
doesn't
to an
have
age
the-
where he can't.
Dane's
run
got
as
that
much.
craft,
power.
yeah.
Dane's got the power.
And
that just,
and the goal kicking craft. Like he's
Well, Bont does. Anyway, see, Bont almost that grand final here when he went forward and sort of swung it all.
He was on that day.
He's done it against.
no,
Freo
he
too
could do
many
it. He could
times.
play. He
I
was-
had him for the norm that day too, and he was.
What about with that
He had it.
margin? That margin was like 70 points. In
Yeah, but it didn't feel
Yeah,
like
no.
that.
one of the great grand final blowouts.
You went in,
Unbelievable.
but you went into halftime thinking the Dogs were going to win.
halfway through the third,
Yeah.
they were winning.
And
Yeah.
they were engraving Bont's name on the
Yeah,
Norm Smith.
it was madness.
At that point. Okay, the last game of the round. I love this game,
Easter
but I
Monday.
always hate that we have to wait till Monday to get it. So Geelong $1.87, Hawthorn $1.92. That is, by the accounts of Tab Touch, the closest game of the round. MCG,
But
Melbourne.
even forget the odds. Typically, they are
Yeah.
always the close. Well,
They're almost showdown levels where you just don't, doesn't matter
yeah.
where the teams are.
No, they did.
It's-
Either team matches
It's
up.
a great
pretty well.
game every year,
Yep.
most of the time.
Oh,
So how do we feel? We've got Hawthorn coming off a loss. We've got Geelong coming off a comeback win.
Yeah.
What are we thinking?
That just made me think we're probably doing 2-minute warning on Tuesday next week, are we?
Yep.
Yes, I've already
Okay,
announced
good.
that. Rev the engine, boys.
He's already announced it.
No,
Announced
in
it.
our WhatsApp
In the
chat.
announced,
remember-
not suggested.
No, that's fine.
No, remember
No,
our
put it up for
WhatsApp-
discussion.
Here's me thinking it
Josh,
was a group
Josh,
discussion.
It's democracy, I've already
in our
announced
WhatsApp chat. Did I put it in the WhatsApp chat and people got around it and thumbs up it
Yeah.
and
You
said,
know,
yeah, no way.
we're in the chat.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was. So,
Okay,
so
yeah,
why are
yeah.
you
People
re-announcing
Well,
it?
just announcing is
People got around it. Like,
I was
we're the
just
people.
checking.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then why are you acting like you didn't know anything about
I
it?
just didn't like it. I announced
I
it.
have a tea time at 11 o'clock,
I
okay?
don't-
I will not be here on
I
Monday.
announced it.
Nah.
I literally, like, I put that forward to the group would be
Yeah.
something you could phrase it.
And
as.
you approved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
So it's already been done.
It's announced.
Yeah, it's been approved and announced.
It's been announced.
So Hawthorn.
Trumpy over here.
All right, dickheads. Hawthorn get this done.
Executive orders.
Hawthorn get it done. It's going to be a big, big day at the MCG.
Are you going
Geelong-
to watch that then? So you're going to finish golf then go
On the
watch
phone.
I'll be there.
it? Okay.
I won't be there. I'll be watching it. But no, Hawthorn win this. Hawthorn win this. The
Really?
small forwards
You're that
fire up.
confident?
Yeah, I am. I am that confident.
Can I ask-
They fell into a little hole.
Yeah, why were you so off them last week?
Just Adelaide Oval, gather around 60,000 or 50,000 screaming Port Adelaide fans. I thought they'd jump them. They did jump it. It was deja vu from 2 years earlier. MCG, the Wizard. Hawthorn will have the slight advantage in the crowd.
Put the Ocean on him.
The Wizard. Ocean. Is he still playing?
Yeah, he's playing a lot.
Yeah, I know he's playing every week. I just think the Wizard, Jack Ginnivan, the forwards, Dylan Moore, I think they're going to run amok.
Okay. Look, I don't disagree. I'll be tipping Hawthorn.
And the midfield
Again,
is Geelong's midfield's not their strength either. So that Hawthorn's weakness is also not Geelong's strength.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yep, that's fair. Yep.
I like it.
Cool. So we've got our hardball bets segment here. It's now time for this week's hardball bets, it says on the script. Place the same game multi with Tab Touch, boost your odds and combine up to 16 leagues with a single game into one bet. Now, you can find each of our multis under trending bets for that game's market on the Tab Touch app.
And I can tell you, Rhino, I can announce that people found it last week.
I did, yeah.
I can announce
followed
that.
you in.
Because you've had a win and I've had a win.
Yes.
Dave's, Nick's
I'm
never
still
had a win.
coming.
So let's do yours first in case people are listening to this as the bounce approaches for tonight's game.
Oh, yes, of course.
It'll only be a minute.
All right, now I'm going to quickly sell it to you. So, right, we did it last week, so I'm going to have to replay what we did. Close your eyes, gentlemen, and picture this.
Okay, go.
Tonight, weather's good. Collingwood v Brisbane, no tags. Clubs don't tag. Lockie Neal, he'll have 30.
I would have thought.
Nick Dacos, he'll poll 3 Brownlow votes. He'll also have 30.
Yep.
Long Schlong Ned Long, 20 disposals. Hugh McCluggage, 20 disposals. The ageless still side bottom, 20 disposals. Harry Perryman off the back line, 15 disposals.
How many legs is this?
And last but not least, Dan McStay, anytime, 2 goals against his old side. That's $17.
Okay.
That's 17.
17?
Yeah, really quickly. Neil, 30. Dacos, 30. Long, McCluggage and side bottom, 20. Harry Perryman, 15. And Dan McStay, he'll pop through 2 goals. That will almost be done at halftime responsibly. If
So you have to written it out. You have to write it out in front of you to follow it through the game.
Which is the one you're most nervous about?
I'm probably a little bit nervous about Perryman 15, but it's only 15 disposals.
Only 15, surely.
Yeah,
I'd be nervous about our man Dan McStay.
Yeah, that's probably.
I'd be
bit
nervous.
nervy about
All
that.
day McStay. No way.
No memory to get in his way.
Yeah, that's why I did it. No memory. He's going to be the sole focus going forward.
Okay, Nicholas, you go.
Well, I'm going to go in on the Melbourne Fremantle game. Fremantle at the line, which is 17.5.
Okay.
Cade Chandler to score a goal. He typically comes through for
He
me
does,
with one
yeah,
a week.
don't mind
Yep.
Cade
And then I'm
Chandler.
going with Deadeye Jai to get back and score at least one.
Deadeye Jai.
One goal.
They meant it. Yeah, well, he kicked a bag against them last year in
Yep.
Darwin or wherever
Okay.
it was.
Yep.
Murphy Reid to score a goal because he seems to be doing it. And then Andy Brayshaw at least 25 disposals. Christian Petrarca at least 25 disposals because one of them has to fire, surely. And that's wrapped up at $18.
18.
And if you're asking me, I'm most nervous about Petrarca probably.
Yeah, that would be the one I would
Yeah.
be most nervous
But you got to be
about.
fruity.
But,
Throw it in
but
for
he's
anyone.
also withdrawn from the investigation into his injury last year. Did you see
yeah.
that during the week?
That's going to get him up and
Yeah.
about.
No, he's starting
bought
to
in.
see clearly and whatnot. Now, all right, so we've gone from a couple of fruity ceiling fan boys in the swing to old missionary man Rhino.
I know. I thought I was being fruity.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, $8.
I got to $8.50.
You've double wrapped, mate. Let's go.
Okay, all right. So West Coast Essendon I'm going to. I can't actually place this bet because it's too late for me. I've been working at the game.
What do you
so
mean?
I don't think I can
No, you
place
can.
Oh, you got to
within
within a half hour or something.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no,
Oh, is it
midnight the
midnight?
night before.
Okay,
Jeez.
all right. So I
Midnight
might have a
before.
taste. Zach Reed at 15 disposals.
Kicks it beautifully.
Kicks
They
it
are-
beautifully.
They are very
Do you
happy
know,
with Zach
now,
Reed.
I should inform you, the reason I placed this bet as I did, and you'll see it's heavy Essendon. So in my research for tomorrow night's game, where do you think Essendon rank in terms of AFL for disposals?
Top 5.
Yeah, seventh.
First.
Yeah.
Where do you think West Coast rank?
Well, they don't touch it, so I'm guessing last.
So you've got the team that gets the more disposals than anyone else against the team that gets the fewest. That would tell me that Essendon is going to win the disposal
And
count.
Essendon haven't played West Coast yet
No,
to take the
they
Mickey
haven't.
bit.
So it's going to be a heavy disposal game for Essendon. So I led that information into Zach Reed 15 plus, Ben Hobbs 15 plus,
Playing half 4, you get 15. correct?
Archie Roberts 20. Love this kid. Love him. Not even nervous about that one. Nick
Okay.
Martin 25 plus, and
Okay.
Zach Merritt 30 plus.
Zach Merritt, you could have gone 35.
They're
with
going to
Zach
get
Merritt.
500 disposals in this game.
Yeah.
That's I might as well have added 5 more bombers to get extra fruity. Like the stats back it up.
Right.
So you're nervous about Archie Roberts?
Yeah, and Nick
What's he
Martin.
averaging?
You're
What's-
off. No, I'm claiming Archie Roberts.
You can have Archie Roberts.
Kid's gonna
That's
be a
fine.
star.
Nick Martin, I'm a bit nervous about.
Are ya?
Well, only because he could just play half forward for the night. And
Yeah,
just
I don't mind that though. He's
but
coming up off half forward.
Yeah,
and he's
no,
getting
but
a
when
heap
the
of
ball
footy.
when the ball's down that end, you wouldn't mind kicking a few yourself.
Oh, so yeah, okay.
So,
Okay, so he's just
Yeah.
roaming around. He wanted to do something after they
Yeah.
didn't give him a
So he
gig.
might get 23, but kick 4.
Kick 4, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm happy.
I'm happy
All
with
right,
We've done
with
the
that.
research. It's research based.
Yeah, okay. Evidence-based
Yes.
decisions here.
Of course, you got the touch. Download the Tab Touch app today. You win some, you lose more. Free for free and confidential support. Visit gamblinghelpline.org.au. Of course, gamble responsibly.
All right, that's been the Hardball Gets for this week. Make sure to come back next Tuesday. It's been declared by...
Announced.
Announced.
Not declared.
Announced, sorry, announced. Next Tuesday for the 2-minute warning. We'll catch you then.